Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about the Secret Invasion. And the reason why I want to talk about Secret Invasion is because I found that there's some things that was going on that could have helped this show succeeded if people had kept the continuity for the MCU. And the problem is continuity. I know a lot of people always want to talk about how continuity doesn't matter or whatever, especially in these Hollywood types when you have to call them out. There are several times where you have to call the continuity out for these characters, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like, if I can keep up with the continuity, why can't you? Like, is nobody going back watching episodes, watching just like what's going on? There's nobody's tracking the timeline or anything, because this is ridiculous that for some reason a person like me can keep the continuity, but the people who get paid to make the show can't keep the continuity together. It just doesn't make any logical sense. But the reason why I want to talk about Secret Invasion is because we're going to bring up the whole thing, because we know that Kevin Feige was being petty with Jeff Loeb, who was in charge of Marvel Television Productions at the time. And if you guys know about the Marvel Television Productions, you guys know that the MCU shows originally started on ABC. You know what I'm saying? Like, they started on ABC. It started on ABC, then it went to Netflix, and then of course we got Disney Plus. So people need to understand that the MCU was already doing the television thing a long time ago. But isn't it funny how Jeff Loeb was the one that was able to make the TV show stuff successful, except for Iron Fist and Inhumans, but that's neither here nor there. But for some reason, Kevin Feige and them can't make the TV shows work. And those shows had like 12 to 24 episodes a piece. You know what I'm saying? The Secret Invasion should have been a reunion of Marvel television characters. It really should have. It really should have. Even if you couldn't get some of the Netflix stuff in there, you really should have been bringing in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Runaways, the Inhumans, Cloak and Dagger. You know what I'm saying? Just to name a few characters that should have been in Secret Invasion, because you needed some heroes to show up. And on top of that, where the fuck was Anthony Mackie's Captain Falcon and Bucky? Yeah, they should at least showed up for like the final 2 episodes of the series. Yes, it was a Nick Fury show, but at the same time, you still need to have some characters working behind the scenes, because you still need heroes to make this series work. And another thing is, you never introduced Nick Fury Jr. I mean, this would have been a perfect opportunity to introduce Nick Fury Jr. Like, if you guys don't know, in the main continuity of Marvel, the white Nick Fury, after he kind of did what he did in what was it? God damn it, I can't think of it. Deadly Sins or whatever the fuck. It's been a while. Whatever. He became the Unknowner or whatever, so he becomes like some kind of Watcher or whatever, something like that, some pseudo Watcher character, right? So when that happened, we find out that Nick Fury actually has a son, a black son, which, yes, a white person can have a black son, not shocker, and stuff like that. And he lived in Atlanta, Georgia. He wasn't aware that his father was Nick Fury at all, because, Nick Fury did have another family outside of him, but, the mom didn't want him part of that life, but life happened. He lost his eye in the same way, and he became, he became the new Nick Fury and stuff like that, when it was revealed that Nick Fury had a son that he didn't want the world to know about. So, what we could have did is you bring in Nick Fury Jr., but what you would have did is, instead of making him black, you would have made him white, and you would have. And instead of that Skrull being being his wife being a Skrull, which doesn't make any logical sense. You can have it where the Skrulls realized that Nick Fury had another family behind his wife's back and was using his son, his white son, which would have been Nick Fury Jr., and you would have introduced a person who can replace Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, but in the original Nick Fury. So you do kind of like a reversal. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the reason why why I'm bringing all of this stuff up is because the continuity just isn't there. But this was supposed to be like Captain America Winter Soldier, right? Okay, so you don't have Black Widow, you don't have Captain America, you don't have Winter Soldier or anything that kind of makes it whatever, but you do have a show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you do have characters in there that you could have brought in. You know what I'm saying? You could have brought in Quake. You know what I'm saying? Killing Maria Hill was just unnecessary. You could have brought in the Inhumans. Yes, that can kind of fill up from that disaster season 1. But what you would do is you would have the Inhumans show up in their traditional Inhuman look. So Medusa would have her beautiful bright red hair, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Tritus will be alive again. We're gonna pretend like, because if y'all gonna spend $250 million on a thing, at least it would have made more sense to bring in the Inhumans, you know what I'm saying. I said the same thing with the Runaways, is because you need some of these characters kind of all converging, so when the final battle happened with Nick Fury and whoever, I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't care. You have that, and then you bring in Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, where the Inhumans are like, wait, you're not a mutant, you're an Inhuman. You'll have Daisy kind of explaining what's going on or whatever, and she was like, well, what about this bracelet or whatever, and then Medusa can explain that it's like an Inhuman bracelet or whatever, stuff like that, and it had Terrigen Mist in it, which when she put it on, it unlocked her inhumanity and stuff like that, and that's why she's able to do what she's doing. And maybe saying like, but since that's like a pseudo Terrigen Mist, you need to go through the real Terrigen Mist, so whenever you're ready, we'll be in Adelon waiting for you. So after the Marvels, you could be setting up Miss Marvel and the Inhumans to do something more in the MCU. You get what I'm saying? And I know some people don't like the Inhumans, but if you do it correctly, if you do the Inhumans correctly, and if you really sit down and tell a good story about it, you could easily, you know what I'm saying? And what really should happen with Secret Invasion is, yes, the Skrulls are bad. That's just plain and simple. And there should have been some characters that were that did get captured, and I know they did with Rhodey. But if you're gonna do Rhodey getting kidnapped or whatever and stuff like that, the first thing on his mind should have been Tony, and you should have brought in Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper, and the daughter to, tell Rhodes that, Tony's gone or something like that. If you were going to really do that kind of thing or whatever, but you really needed to bring in the TV show characters. Like I said, Cloak and Dagger, the Runaways, the Inhumans, bring in Miss Marvel, and then at last minute, Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers introduced Nick Fury Jr. into the thing. Introduced Captain Marvel's son, Hulkling. You know what I'm saying? That way you can set up for that stupid Agatha Covenant of Darkness show. You know what I'm saying? Because, of course, y'all want to kind of do that kind of thing. But you need to, you know what I'm saying? Where he realized, like, the whole reason for the Secret Invasion is because they're really after him. Because he's supposed to be the new prince or whatever, but he didn't realize that he was or whatever. And we realized that the real Captain Marvel died a long time ago. And I'm not talking about that bullshit from Captain Marvel, the movie. We won't retcon that where, Captain Marvel was a Kree hero or whatever, but he also slept with the Skrull princess, who's been secretly on Earth this whole time, because she didn't like her, she didn't like her family's thing or whatever. She fell in love with Captain Marvel. They've been living together, but he died of cancer some years ago or whatever and stuff like that, and they've been raising their son privately, you know what I'm saying? And now his powers are kind of like activating because of the nonsense that happened with Secret Invasion. That's how you kind of tie in stuff, because I'm pulling from different storylines to try to give it a cohesiveness that would have made more sense, because you needed cohesiveness in order for Secret Invasion to succeed. But the problem is with Marvel and with Kevin Feige and with some of the people is everybody was so big and petty about the Marvel television division and stuff like that, that y'all already had characters set up. Oh, and you already had both Ghost Riders already set up, because the original Ghost Rider and Robbie Reyes had already showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that was already there. And then you could have brought in maybe Moon Knight for the fuck of it, just to give a little bit of something. But definitely you needed some of these TV show characters to show up in there, show up towards the end of Secret Invasion, where the final three episodes, I would say, would be superheroes versus Skrulls and stuff like that. And, they take on forms and shapes or whatever. You would need for that to happen. You honestly would have to, what I'm saying? And then you can bring in the fact that the Skrulls were working with some of Hydra. And then that way you could have still had some ties to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. And then you could have had Phil, kind of like, hey, Fury, you thought you was going to do this all alone or whatever, stuff like that. He's like, hey, I've been doing this saving the world thing for a long time as well. Bringing in some characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. To connect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should have did something like that instead of just doing whatever the fuck you wanted to and doing some girl-powered bullshit. And don't tell me that wasn't what they was trying to do. Yes, the fuck they was. This is like, the third franchise that Emilia Clarke done girl bossed it up, and it just fucking sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gotta stop this nonsense. So my thing is, that's what I was thinking. Like, if you really wanted to, like, go for something that would have made sense, you take these ideas and you just create a cohesive story. I haven't watched Secret Invasion because it looked like it was trash. But what I'm saying is, these ideas that I'm giving you guys would have worked. And maybe you could have talked to Sony and maybe brought in Spider-Woman. Or you could have took one of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters, Bobby Morse, which the reason why I'm saying Bobby Morse is because they did the same shit with Avengers, Earth Mightiest Heroes, when they couldn't use Spider-Woman, they used Bobby Morse. It still got the message across where she was the queen of the Skrulls or something like that, and she was leading this invasion or whatever and nonsense, which, would have had, dealt some representation. So you could have maybe, split the cost with Sony and say, hey, Sony, we want to use Spider-Woman, but we want to use Jessica Drew in there, which then you could have brought in Kristen Stewart, who played Jessica Jones, and kind of tie in their friendship. You know what I'm saying? Where they've been friends because, her and Luke Cage had welcomed their daughter and stuff like that. And, if you guys know how Jessica Jones is, you could have had that kind of stuff where, she comes in and trying to figure out, like, what's going on with her best friend or whatever. And you can have just a few other characters from, like, Cloak and Dagger, the Inhumans, the Runaways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like some of those characters that we thought we knew, they were trapped or whatever. And then there was an Inhuman character, Luke, I believe his name is Luke. I love that character. He had like these electrical powers and he died or whatever. But what I'm thinking is, he could have actually been one of those characters that was trapped. So you kind of bring back a fan favorite character in that thing. It was like, hey, the Luke that you thought died, well, the Skrulls took his body and kind of experimented on him or whatever, something like that, and created you know what I'm saying? So that way you could kind of bring back that character in a sense or whatever. But that's just a few little things that I kind of was thinking that could have worked. And trust me, what I'm saying is way better than what you guys came up with. Because I mean, I could really sit down and really break down how I would do all 6 episodes, but that's probably too much. But I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts across for Secret Invasion and why it was a failure and why Disney and Marvel needed to put some time and effort into it. And instead of being little petty bitches, they could have actually did something amazing. You know what I'm saying? When the time came. But hey, that's just my personal opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Did you guys watch Secret Invasion? I know I didn't. I know a lot of people didn't watch it either. But tell me what you guys think. What would you have added or take out if you could? You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.